Most facilitators make these 5 mistakes and they don't even know it. If you run workshops but struggle to convince people or feel like your sessions aren't landing as powerfully as they should, you might be missing some of the key skills that separate a good facilitator from an elite one. Today, I'm going to break down exactly what those differences are and how you can start leveling up right now. I'm Scarano and I've been a professional facilitator for over 10 years. I've trained thousands of people in the art of facilitation and collaborated with some of the biggest brands in the world. Facilitation is one of the most powerful skills you can develop, whether you're leading teams, driving innovation projects, or solving complex business challenges. But here's the thing, most facilitators never actually break through to the elite level. They get stuck in the cycle of running sessions that are fine, but not transformational. They rely on templates, follow set structures, and wonder why they're not getting bigger, higher stakes gigs, or aren't able to convince internal teams to let them run more workshops. The truth is, facilitation at the highest level isn't about knowing a process. It's about mastering the dynamics of how people think, collaborate, and make decisions. In this video, I'm going to take you through the 5 key shifts that changed everything for me, so you can shortcut your learning curve and step into that elite level faster. Let's start with the first and probably most overlooked difference: understanding human creativity and attention. When I first started facilitating, I thought my job was to guide people through a set of activities. I had my agenda, my post-its, my templates, and I felt prepared. But what I didn't realize at the time was that just because you put a structure in place doesn't mean that people will automatically be engaged or thinking at their best. The truth is, human attention works in cycles. People don't stay in peak focus all the time. And if you don't structure your session to match how the human brain actually works, you'll get surface level ideas instead of deep transformational insights. Elite facilitators know what to expect in advance and how to read the room in the moment. They understand when the group needs to be energized, when they need quiet reflection, and when they need to push through discomfort. They design sessions that naturally move people through these different states, instead of forcing everyone into a rigid, linear process. That's why 2 facilitators could run the exact same exercise, but one will get breakthrough insights while the other gets disengaged silence. It's not just about the method, it's about how you create the conditions for people to engage with it fully. Now, once you understand human attention, the next big shift is learning when to customize versus when to stick to a tried and tested framework. In the beginning, I thought facilitation was about using the right workshop templates. I believed if I just followed a design sprint process or a problem framing structure or a brainstorming method exactly as they were written, I'd get great results. But here's the thing, beginner facilitators rely on templates because they don't yet have the confidence to adapt and tweak them. Elite facilitators, on the other hand, know how to understand the broader context, prepare customized workshop plans, and adjust their approach in real time. A few years ago, I was running a workshop for a team that needed to align on a product strategy. I had my standard ideation exercise planned, and it had worked many times before, so I assumed it would work here too. But 10 minutes in, I could tell something was off. The team wasn't engaged. They were frustrated. It wasn't that the exercise was bad, it was that it didn't fit the dynamics and the context of that specific situation. The team wasn't aligned on their objectives yet, so trying to prioritize ideas was actually creating more conflict instead of clarity. If I had stubbornly stuck to my plan, the session would have been a disaster. Instead, I shifted gears, created a quick realignment exercise on the spot, and then moved into ideation. The difference? A session that could have felt forced and ineffective became one of the most productive workshops they'd ever had. And this brings me to the third difference. Elite facilitators prepare at a completely different level. If you think workshop prep is just about planning an agenda, you're missing 80% of what actually makes a session successful. When I was a beginner, I would show up with a set of activities and think that was enough. But then I started running into problems. I'd get into a session and realize half the people in the room didn't even want to be there. I'd discover at the last minute that a key stakeholder was missing, or worse, that the real decision maker was someone I hadn't even spoken to yet. I'd find out that my beautifully planned exercises didn't work in the space that we were in, or that my participants had already spent the last 3 days in back-to-back workshops, so they were completely burned out already. And what was the biggest lesson I learned from that? Preparation isn't just about the workshop. It's about understanding the full context around it. Today, before I even design an agenda, I ask a series of critical questions. Who are the key players in this project? What's the larger strategic goal that this workshop fits into? What's the energy level of the team right now? What constraints am I working within? And most importantly, what does success actually look like for these stakeholders? Because a workshop can run perfectly from a facilitation standpoint and still fail to create real impact if it's not solving the right problem in the right way. And that leads us to the fourth big difference. Elite facilitators know how to navigate trade-offs. One of the hardest things to learn as a facilitator is that you can't optimize for everything at once. Every workshop has constraints: time, scope, budget, outcomes, engagement levels, decision-making rights. The mistake that beginner facilitators make is trying to please everyone. They try and balance deep discussions with fast decision-making. They try to fit too much into a single session. They overpromise on what's possible in the time available. And in doing so, they dilute the success of the workshop. An elite facilitator, on the other hand, is constantly making strategic trade-offs. They know when to push for depth and when to keep things moving. They can sense when a group is getting stuck in unnecessary overthinking and shift gears. They help clients make informed choices about what's most important, and most critically, they have the confidence to say no, to push back when a client's expectations don't match the reality of what's possible. That's the difference between being a service provider and being a trusted strategic facilitation partner. Finally, the fifth and most subtle sign of an elite facilitator is that they become invisible. This might sound counterintuitive, but the best facilitators aren't the ones who run flashy, high-energy workshops that look impressive in the moment. The best facilitators are the ones whose work is almost invisible. Because instead of making the session about them, they make it about serving the need of the people. When you reach this level, people don't walk away saying, "Wow, that facilitator was amazing." Instead, they walk away saying, "Wow, that was the best decision-making session we've ever had." Or, "That was the most productive conversation we've had all year." When you stop needing to be the center of attention and start focusing purely on driving outcomes, that's when you know you've made the leap from good to elite. Everything I've shared in this video is just the beginning of this transition. The difference between a beginner and an elite facilitator isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. Understanding the deeper dynamics at play and knowing how to shape the experience so that it just works. And that's not something you master overnight. I've recorded a 90-minute free training that dives even deeper into these differences. The exact strategies, the frameworks, and the confidence to consistently run high-impact sessions that leave clients asking you for more. If you've ever run a workshop that felt like it just didn't land, or you're struggling to get past a certain level in your facilitation career, this training is designed to help you close those gaps fast and move from a good facilitator to an elite level facilitator. Click the link in the description to find out more. It's completely free, and I promise you it will change the way you think about facilitation. So sign up now and I'll see you inside. If you've enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments which topics you'd like me to cover in future. Give the video a like and subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.